live demo. I'm Kendall. I'm the community manager here at Riverside, and usually I am joined by my colleague Steven, but he unfortunately is not able to make it today. So you've got me, and bear with me because I'm going to be live demoing for you end to end how to use Riverside from recording in your studio, going live, getting your show notes, transcripts, editing, making your clips, all of it. And I am also going to be monitoring the live chat. So, speaking of the live chat, if you are watching live, feel free to introduce yourselves there. And bear with me, I'm going to get to all your questions, but I am a one woman show today. So, we are going to be getting to the questions kind of as we go along. And probably I'll be answering some as we go. But towards the end, I will open it up for a Q&A. So, as I said, I am Kendall, the community manager at Riverside. And what Riverside is, for anyone who is new here, is that we are an end to end recording, editing, content creation platform. And I'm going to be showing you today all of the kind of small but mighty tools, as well as all of the big ones that you'll need to go and make your content end to end using Riverside. So at the end of it, I'm going to be showing you how to take all of the lessons we learned and create a social clip. And along the way, I'll be showing you the studio, how to invite guests, how to schedule sessions, and all of that. So a lot of people here in the chat, very exciting to see. Hello, Joseph. You said hello, so I will say hello back. Awesome. So let's really dive into it. And I'm going to start off by showing you the studio and talking to you about how to create a studio and what a studio really even is. So let's get right into that. I'll be sharing my screen. And again, usually I have Stephen here with me. So bear with me as I walk you through it. And so this is my Riverside studio. This one is called Webinars, as you'll see over here. And basically, what a studio is when you're creating it is it's where all of your content lives for a specific thing. So let's say, for example, you have a podcast. What I usually do is I create a studio just for my podcast. So every single episode will be in that same studio. Why do I create a studio just for my podcast? Because every time that you invite a guest to join that studio, it's going to be the same link if you're using the same studio. And why does that matter? For example, I use something like Calendly to schedule my interviews, and I have an automation that will send to my guest that says, hey, here's the date and time of my interview, and here's a link to join. You don't have to go in and change that link every time as long as you're using the same studio. You can keep that link as is, and it just makes everything a lot easier. Other ways to organize your content if you want. So, for example, I have podcast episodes, but we also do live demos, we also do webinars. So, I also change it based on the style of content. As you can see here, I have one for a live stream marathon, I have one for our office hours and webinars, our monthly demos, which is where you're watching from. So, you can really create studios based on what works best for your workflow. But baseline, I would start off by saying that the best way to create a studio would be for each of your podcasts if you have multiple. And then right here, you'll see the home screen. Oh, I'll back it up for a second. When you have this studio, you'll also have what lives inside of it is called projects. A project is every recording session that you're doing. So, for example, every episode of a podcast would be a project. You can see this is my Riverside Webinars studio, and every one here is a different webinar that I recorded. And maybe I did a few takes or I made a few clips. All of them will live inside of this project page. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here, so let's back it up because we'll get to the project page very soon. This is my home screen, and first of all, you'll see at the top that you have a record button. You can jump right into record. You can edit, go live, plan, or import. So let's say that you recorded outside of Riverside. You could take that content and put it into your Riverside studio to edit. So for every recording that I'm doing, I will press plan. And let's say that I want to invite somebody to record. I just press invite to record here, and I copy this guest link. I said use Calendly to schedule my sessions, But if you want to just email your guests, you'll find the link to join the studio right here. You can also have people join in audience mode, like you're doing right now for a live stream, if that's what you're into. So you take the guest link and you could send it right to them. You can also, if you want, you could schedule a session. So you can add your session name, you can change the time zone, do exactly what you would like here, and add a description and invite people by email. So that's another way to do it. If you have a pro plan, you can schedule 3 sessions at a time. But I actually, because I'm already emailing, I usually will just send them the guest link, or I will attach that guest link that I showed you to the calendar invite that I send them. So I'm actually going to switch over here and I'm going to go into a studio that will not take me live in another screen. So awesome. I'll go to my home screen here and we'll jump right into recording. So let me So this screen that you're going to see is your lobby. You're also going to see two of me right now. You're going to see the live version of me that's in the tile, and you're also going to see the version of me that's in this new studio. You might see a little bit of a delay because I'm screen sharing another studio. It gets a little meta here. So don't worry, there is no delay. Just look at the live tile of me right now. So what you're going to see here is your lobby screen. And why it's important is because, first of all, you're going to use it every time that you log into your studio. But also, this is what your guest will see too. And that's important because all you have to do is send them a link. It takes them to this screen, and it's very easy for them to set up. They don't have to download anything. They just kind of get right to here. They'll see guest right here where it says host. All you have to do is write your name, whether or not you're using headphones, and usually it will detect whether or not you're using headphones. And then you can choose here which camera, microphone, headphones that you're using. So let's join the studio. And we are there. It's going to say to close other Riverside screens because I'm doing a little double time right now. Um, in your studio, I want to first start with if you're not going live because we have a lot of live streaming capabilities, but let's first start with basic studio. So right here, you'll see myself, and right here, you'll have this guest screen. You can have up to 9 guests in your studio at a time, so 10 including yourself. And again, if you want to invite someone, just you're in your studio, the guest says, wait, what's the guest link? It's right here. You can also always find it up at the top at this invite link. You'll also find your studio settings in here, so you can make sure that it's set to the right resolution. Your transcript language, this is important. Make sure that your transcript's set to the language that you're speaking in. And over on the side, let's take you through the side panel. On the side, you'll see the people panel. So you see me here right now, but you'll also see guests if I have any. So you can go in and see what microphones and camera they're using. So let's say they have a microphone in front of them, but they sound a little weird. You can go and check and say, hey, actually, you're still plugged in to your laptop headphone, like your laptop microphone. Can you switch that for me? So a really easy way to be able to monitor. Um, right over here is the chat, which we'll get to when we talk about live streaming, but you also are able to chat with your guest or send them a link. So let's say that at the end of the interview, I say, hey, guest, I want to know what the best links are to send my listeners to when they're done listening to the episode. Can you send it in the chat right here? So you have that chat available. You also have studio branding, so you're able to really customize the look of your studio to make a really great experience, whether they're live or really impress your guests. So you can add a logo, put in your brand color, add a background if you want, and you could either upload it or choose from our image gallery. And you could choose different font styles if you'd like. A fun thing here too that I like to do is you can actually click into your name title and say Kendall Community Manager or the name of your podcast maybe. I want it to say Kendall Riverside. And I can choose the size of that. I can choose the color based on the colors that I've chosen here. Let's go back to white. And that is set right there. You can also create text overlays. So let's say that I wanted to create an on-screen text overlay that actually will show up in your editor later if you'd like. So let's say that I wanted to have one that says how to grow your podcast. I want to customize that and make that white and black, and I want it to show on screen for 10 seconds, maybe just 5 even. So I can save and show that, and you'll see there's a countdown here, or I could hide it myself. That's also, if you're live streaming, you can use clickable links. So somebody who's watching in audience mode can click this and actually enter the link that you put in. So really cool if you want to share resources during a live stream. Down here you have your media board, and the media board is made so that you can share audio and video clips during your session. It's really cool. So let's say that you want to put an ad break, or let's say, which you could also do in the editor later, but let's say that you have a clip from a previous episode that you'd love to get your guests' thoughts on, or a clip from another podcast that you want to talk about, or let's say that you have a podcast about television and you want to show a clip from the show. You can upload that here, and then you can or show it live. So you also have these layout tools here, great for live streaming. So you could do speaker full screen, you could do a split screen kind of view, you could do grid, and really jump around to make a really dynamic live stream. So that's the side panel, but let me take you through the bottom panel as well. Right down here, we have the record button. If you hover over it, a little trick here is that you can do a test recording, and it'll walk you through all of the steps of a test recording. So it'll ask you to test your mic, it'll ask you to test your camera, and then you can listen back to make sure that it's everything that you want it to be. You also have, again, your mic settings, your camera settings, and your headphone settings. A really cool feature that I love is this script feature. So what you can do, I love to use it to put my questions in there. If or maybe I want to put actually my script. You can do that and even hover over and use the teleprompter. So it can be right in front of you so that you don't have to look down at your computer. You can just be looking right at your screen. Or you don't have to be looking at the side of your notes, I mean. You can change the speed of that. So let's say that I want it to go really slow. I can make it go a little faster. And that is a teleprompter feature. I could even just break it back out and have it be this scripting feature here. And the cool part about the scripting feature too is that we put it as high up on your screen as possible so that if you're using your laptop camera, it still looks like you're looking into your camera, but you can be looking into your notes right there. So you no more having to have a separate dock with your notes and having to kind of dart your eyes back and forth. You can have it all right here on your screen. You're also able to screen share, and you can't see it now because I'm not recording in this studio. But once I start recording, you'll see a marker tool, and this is a big pro tip for you. The marker tool, it will mark a specific moment that you choose and have a little dot on your timeline in your editor, which I'll show you later. So, what that does, for example, if there's a part of a conversation that I just loved and I really want to cut it out as a clip, or for example, I had a bad cough a couple of weeks ago, and so every time that I would stop to cough, I would press the marker tool and it would create a dot for me, and it just makes editing so much faster and easier. And an added pro tip is you don't even have to press the marker button that will show up down here. You could actually just press M on your keyboard and it'll create that marker for you. So definitely keep that in mind as you are creating. So that's basic studio. I want to quickly hit on live stream before we move on. So up here at the top, you can see your live stream to social bar. So we have two different ways of live streaming, which you can do together. One is audience live streaming through the Riverside studio, which a lot of you are doing right now. You're in Riverside, you're watching in the studio, and you're in audience mode. So you can do the chat, but you're not seen on screen. You're also able to live stream to social media. So you can hook up your YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Twitch, TikTok, or use a custom RTMP, which will let you do things like uh, go live to multiple YouTube channels. It will also let you go live to Instagram, for example. So you have that all right here. And once you're live streaming, you're able to have the live stream chat over here, which includes once you hover over a comment. You can't see that here right now, but when you hover over a comment, it'll show up on screen. You can also, again, show those live clickable links over here, play with your layouts, and have your media over here. And last thing that I forgot to mention is always make sure to label your recording so that you can come back to it later very easily. So that is the studio. I am going to now move on to the recordings page. Let me go over to there. So I am going over to webinars. So every time that you do a recording, you are going to have a project created for you. So for example, I did a recording, I did a workshop with a creator named Craig, and it created a project for me based on that workshop. So when you go into it, you'll see that you have the project right there and that your recording is here as well as any edits that you do. So everything that you have for that one recording, that one episode, for example, is all in one place. What you can do here is you'll see your source files. So you can download the high quality separate tracks. And that's really the best part about Riverside is that you get those high quality locally recorded tracks. And what that means is that even if you have choppy internet or your guest does, the quality of your recording is not affected. So you can record with confidence, knowing that even if your internet's choppy, you're still going to get really high quality files. So you can take all of them from right here, or you can also download the transcript as well as the audience Q&A if you are doing a live stream. So that's great to be able to take that chat. You can also get show notes based on your recording. So here is an edit. Here's my full episode. I can just scroll right over here, press show notes, and it will generate for me my show notes with keywords that are separated by commas. It will have time coded chapter. It'll have time coded chapter stamps for me so that I can just copy that and put it right into YouTube. It will also have for me keyword suggestions, title suggestions, sound bites, and of course the show notes summary. I am doing this live right now, so it does take a minute or two for that to load, but that is where you will find all of that, and you could just copy it and put it right into your YouTube description or the description for your episode, for example. So it's already made for you right there, as well as an AI transcript if you're on Pro. Oh, right over here, actually. So you'll see your show notes right over here, keywords made for you, takeaways, titles, sound bites, and chapter time codes. A lot of the time, I'll get the question of, okay, but if I'm editing, my chapter time codes are going to change. And bear with me because I'll show you later how to take the updated chapter time codes and use that for your YouTube content. Also down here, you have some snapshots from the session that you can take and upload right to social media to really show off the fact that you just recorded and celebrate that. So up here, you'll see this create button. What you can do with Riverside is you can create magic clips. Magic clips are AI generated clips based on the most engaging parts of your conversation. So if you don't have time to create all of these social media clips, we'll do it for you. What you can do right here is you can actually edit this to say, I want my clips to be 9:16. I want them to be, let's say, instead of under 30 seconds, let's do 30 to 60 and have my branding. And I want it to be focus on both me and Craig, so I'll set that as auto. And maybe I want the topics to highlight to be AI. But you can also leave this empty to have it choose the topics that are best for your content. And you'll see right there, I already have at least 4 clips that are being made for me. And when I open those up, you'll see that they have my branding. They're all 9:16. They're 30 to 60 seconds. And I can actually go in and still edit those so I can make them exactly as I want them to be. Same thing up here for a full episode. You can click Magic Episode and do the same thing. So I want all of my episodes to be 16:9. I want it to have smart layouts, which I'll get to, and my branding. Maybe I want to remove pauses, and I want it to remove pauses that are 3 seconds or more. And then I can save those and generate a magic episode. So you could see it's already working on it right there. But let's talk about doing it kind of DIY. And I want to show you exactly how to fully use the Riverside editor. But actually, before I jump into that, I will get some questions. These are going to be about the studio and the project page. So let me go through. Is there a way? Okay, first I'll. Is there a way to use a teleprompter without my guests seeing it? Yes. So having your teleprompter shared with your guests, I believe, is a business-only feature. So if you are using a teleprompter, your guest will not see it. That's only for you. Um, so when recording multiple people locally for Reels, for example, I'll show this on the screen, can Riverside automatically reframe each speaker? Yes, I will show you that in a minute. So excited to show you that. Um, is it multilingual? So we do have some updates coming here soon that I am hopefully going to be able to show you during the next live demo in a month from now. But I would also recommend that you can try creating another studio. Let's say that it's a Spanish studio, and you can upload your content there, but set the language settings to Spanish. And I have not tried this myself, but I have heard that you are able to get some sort of translation from that to have your transcripts be in the language of your choosing. Uh, Is there a way to film multiple camera angles when just filming myself? So that I will tease is coming soon, but for now, a trick that you can use is to download the Riverside app on your iPad or phone, and you can actually use that to create a second camera angle. So you can join as a guest and kind of just mute yourself there, or there's a second camera angle option that you'll see in the app, and you could set that up maybe to the side and create a side shot for yourself. So yes, you can record from multiple camera angles. Just either join as a guest for that camera angle, or you can use one as a second camera angle. Um, Tom had asked, I'm brand new to Riverside. Can we upload pre-existing videos and get transcripts, show notes, magic clips, etc. from those? The answer is yes. So let me actually show you. If you go to your home screen and press import, you can take it from YouTube, take it from your Google Drive, or just drop a file in there, and you'll get your transcript, you'll get show notes, you'll be able to edit in the editor, and get all of the Riverside features that you love and that I'll show you today. Let me, can you? Okay. I am going to continue on for now. Oh, one more question. Are all cameras compatible with Riverside? I actually am going to put on the screen now in our help center, which you can hopefully click right here, or I can send it in the chat. You can see compatible cameras. So you can search through our help center and be able to find all of those. Let me just send that in the chat. All right, let's move on to the editor, and then I'll continue to take some more questions from you. So, as I was in my project page for my workshop with my buddy Craig. So you could either go to edit from scratch, or I can go down here and press new edit from my master recording. Let's do edit from scratch here. And so a note here, when you're editing, your master recording, the original, will remain the same. So you're creating new edits. So don't worry if you want to delete a bunch, you're not going to lose the parts that you deleted forever. It's already still there. So one thing about Riverside is that you're able to edit two different ways, either via the transcript or via the timeline, or a mix of both, which is what I like to do. So over here, you will see your transcript on the side, and you'll also see all of those AI chapter markers. So you'll see those AI chapters here. If I don't agree with one or I want to move it, I can just move them around. I can rename them, remove the chapter, delete all of the content within that chapter, or copy it. So with the transcript, you can basically edit it like a doc. So for example, if I want to take all of this out, I just highlight it and delete it. Maybe I want to take this part and I want to copy it and I actually want it to be at the beginning of my podcast. I can put it right here and I've moved the audio and the video doing that. So really impressive, a lot of fun to play around with and just as easy as editing a doc. I can also add things based on the timeline. So for example, every time that I create that I'm publishing a webinar, I will do something like this. So let's say I'm introducing myself. Um, I am going to highlight the part where I want my name to show up. So I'll highlight this, press add, choose text, let's say speaker, and I want to say Kendall Riverside Community Manager. Because I'm on the right side of my screen, I want it to align right. I want to have a fade in and fade out and have it be set, let's say to 0.3 seconds for each. And based on exactly where let's actually move this just to show you the full effect. Based on exactly what I highlighted on this text, that was where you'll see this. First one. Text kind of zoom in. I cannot wait to get this thing going. Thank you to everyone who's joining us live. This idea really came from the idea that a lot of you in the community had reached out saying that you wanted to. So you can see how that animated in and out. Let's say that I want to actually extend that. I can even do that on my timeline. I can drag it forward, backward, and if I want, I could even remove it. But let's keep it for now. Another thing that I can do moving over to here, I can flip if I want myself or Craig to be on either side. Maybe Craig's face is a little bit closer to screen than mine. I can click on my side, click crop, zoom in, and kind of center myself. So you're really able to perfect every frame of your video. Also in the transcript, I can, let's say I want to highlight a different part and I want to mute it. I can mute myself or I can mute Craig. Maybe if there's crosstalk, I'll try to find some in the transcript. So over here, me and Craig are speaking at the same time, but I want to mute myself so that we're not talking over each other. I could also unmute myself. Also, I am able to, let's say that this clip, I really want to create this part of my interview, I really want to create a clip out of it. I can go in and highlight it and press this little button, create new edit, and it will open a new edit for me just of that highlighted section. I made a bunch of edits there, as you can see. I am also able to add comments. So let's say that I want to add a comment and say, consider removing. Maybe I don't know if I want this part. I can comment here and you'll see right at the timeline that that comment, that little icon will indicate that I have a comment for myself there. And you can also, let's say that I said the wrong thing. Let's say that I said Tuesday instead of Wednesday, and I want to correct that. I won't show it live right now because it does take a little bit of time to process, but I can highlight over only sections where I'm speaking. So you can't do this for a guest. You can press video dub, and it'll correct my mouth and voice to look like that's what I said in the first place. So are you trying? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, you get the idea. Play around with it. It is a super cool AI tool. Up at the top, oh, before then, whenever you're done editing, you can download the transcript or the subtitles here. You can copy the transcript, copy the chapters list, copy your comments. So basically, but when I'm done an edit, that's where I'll go. Over here, let me go to a different section so it's just me and Craig so you get the idea. Over here, you can see that you can automatically change the layout of your clip. So let's say 1 by 1, or I want it to be 9 by 16. I can do that here. And then let me take you over to the side panel over here and tell you about the features there. And I know it's a lot, but we do have a recording of this that we're going to send to all of you so you can rewatch and kind of walk yourself through the process. So, over here in the AI producer, we have a few different tools that you can use. So, you can remove pauses and you can choose how long you want those pauses to be. So, I want to remove all pauses that are 1.5 seconds or more, or I want to remove all pauses that are 3 seconds or more. Maybe for a social clip, I want it to be zero point 0.5 seconds or more. And you can apply that and get your pauses automatically removed. There's also removal of filler words, so that's ums and ahs. Here it caught 336 ums and ahs, so I could apply that and have them all cut in a click. Find fluff is a very cool one. So maybe there's a part where fluff can be if you're talking about processes. So, for example, can you guys hear me? Can you hear the recording? Maybe move your microphone, kind of that type of discussion. It will identify those moments. And instead of deleting it, it will suggest, it'll highlight it and suggest and say, hey, do you want this in your podcast or not? And you can remove it if you'd like to, or keep it as is. Magic audio is, let's say that you have background noise. So let's say I recorded with somebody once that had a fan going on in the background and it did not sound good. What I could do is I could turn on Magic Audio for one of these tracks and use this slider to decide how strong I want to make that tool apply, and you can listen back in real time. So you can see exactly how you want to use Magic Audio and exactly how strong you want to use it until it's exactly as you want it. Smart Mute will mute speakers when they're not speaking. So, for example, with the person with the fan, every time I'm speaking and she was silent, I want her muted so that my audio doesn't have that fan sound in the background. I can apply that. I'll apply it actually now. And you can see when I expand the tracks that every time I'm not speaking, let's zoom out here, every time I'm not speaking, it has muted that person. So that is Smart Mute. We also have Smart Layouts. So every single time that I'm creating an edit, this is the first button that I'm pressing. So Smart Layouts will create all of the scenes for you. So what the scenes are different cuts in your recording. So you can see here, I'll zoom out, all of these little things right here are all cuts. So you could see that it went for me to grid. You can also answer in the chat, but I wanted to over to screen share, over to grid, screen share, there was a lot of screen sharing this one. Back to grid. So what it can do is it can make me full screen, it can make my guest full screen, but the cool part here is that you can also create your own scenes. So let's say I want this to drag this up a bit. I can drag that. I can click on exactly where I want a new scene to begin and either press add scene here, or I can press it over there. That's also add scene. So let's do that together. I just pressed add scene over on my timeline, and for this part, I want it to be full screen of myself. I want it to be, hold on, we just changed this, so I want it to be full screen, and I want it to be another scene, layout, and let's do over here. I can have Craig over here, and I can maybe even add an image to the side if I want to. So you can play around with the different scenes and show exactly who you want for each part. And a new feature that we have is eye contact. So let's say that you're looking down at your screen, but your camera's up here. I've been doing that a lot during the session. So my screen is down here, but my camera's up here. You can use eye contact so that it looks like you're looking into the camera the whole time. So maybe your eyes have darted over at your notes, or maybe you're looking down at your teleprompter screen, whatever that is, you can have it set so that you're looking at the camera at all times, which is a really cool feature. I've tried it out myself and I was pretty blown away. Over here in the tracks panel, that's the next one down, I can flip these tracks. So for example, I want every time for Craig to show up on top, I can flip that here, or I can also do that over here. I don't know why that didn't flip right there. You can also adjust their track volume for each one. If you want, you can also add Magic Audio or adjust their EQ settings. So Let's say we have a bunch of EQ presets here, so you can use one of those. Or you can, if you're an audio aficionado, you can set the EQ settings here and use this graphic EQ to perfect your audio. You can also by track do eye contact or hide their video. And because sometimes when you plug in multiple cameras, microphones, there can be lip sync issues, which usually will not happen, but in case it does, you're able to sync up the audio and video yourself by moving your video or audio back and forth by milliseconds. Over here, you have your brand panel, and this is a really cool feature because it makes it so that you don't have to do the same thing every single time that you make an edit. So I can choose that I want my logo. Maybe for my logo, I always want it to be on this side. I want it to be a little bit less opaque. I want to set my color palette, which I've done over here. And I can set my text style. So every time that I have a title, I want it to look like this. Every time I have a subtitle, I want it to be medium. I want it to, let's do shadow, no animation. Let's do that. You can pick your background design, spacing, as well as corner radius, and as well as how you want your captions to look. So for me, I don't want captions on my 16 by 9 videos. I do want them on my 9 by 16 videos. So I can choose a caption here. Let's add it for my 1 by 1 as well. And you can add an intro and an outro for yourself. So for example here, I want an intro for my 16 by 9 videos because they're for YouTube, but I don't want them for my social videos. So I can add them here based on the aspect ratio, which is super cool. Let's apply the brand and you can see it work right away. And then you can see right here, I can change the spacing, I can change the corner radius, and you can have that all. So right when you're making your videos, you just press apply brand, and it'll apply all of those things right away. Over in layout, you can do smart layouts like I just showed you, which are the different scenes. You can choose full screen, picture in picture, split screen, and fit it to whatever you'd like. You can also use music, so you can upload your own or choose from our royalty-free library with thousands of songs to choose from. So you can, let's say that I want to add some music in here. Let's say I want to add some music in here. It'll show up down here, and I actually want this to play me in. So I will drag it over to here, and I can click in here and choose that I want it to fade in for 2 seconds and fade out for 2 seconds, change the volume. And let's say that I actually want it to show up after an intro plays. I can press the add button here and add my intro in. I can upload it right in here. But now we're getting ahead of ourselves. So that's the music panel. You also have the captions panel over here, so you can create or use any of these pre-created captions. So I want to show you, let's go back up to here. I want to show you, let's go to 16 by 9. If I were to change my, if I were to change my captions over here, let's say that I want it to be this Delta Gothic, I want it to be this kind of pink color. What I can do is I can click caption presets to add it there, and I could add it to my brand or favorite it. So if I favorite it, I'll go into my captions, and you can see that it's right here under my favorites. So every single time if I want to use that, I can use that. Or I can apply it to my brand panel over there if you want it to be a part of your brand. Down here you can also upload your upload videos, images, music, whatever you'd like. All of your uploads will live here. You can go right into a recording. So for example, I love to watch my full episode and then record my intro. So I'll watch my full episode while I edit it, and then I'll press record and record my full intro. You can add image overlays. So let's say this is an overlay, this is a thumbnail. Oh, is this because I pressed record? Please hold. Okay. Let's say that I want to add an image overlay. Here is a thumbnail that I had. I can use that and make it full screen. And actually, I want to have this play for a specific amount of time. Oh, I can zoom into my timeline, and I can actually extend it however long I would like and set it exactly for where I want it to show up. So then let's try that out. And instead, for every one of these sessions, that has a music overlay as well, so it got a little chaotic. You also have video overlays, which are super cool because you are able to create B-roll. So you're going to want to make a video that's engaging for people to watch, and a lot of the time that's adding video. So if you highlight, this is a trick here, if you highlight and you press add and video, it'll actually show you suggestions based on the content that you highlighted for which video, which B-roll you could show, or you can upload your own. So this is a screen record I did of an email that I got. It's only 3 seconds, but I want to show that. And instead of full screen, I want it to kind of appear in the corner. I can drag that and I can change the volume. I don't want any volume. I just want it to play. So I can click that to about that today. We have here Craig Schumacher, and see that here. Same thing with text overlays. You can add a title. Let's say, "This is so cool," and I want to move that over here. And let's say that I want to animate it to bounce onto the screen for 0.5 seconds. I can do all that. A quick poll of the people that are here. So let me just. So that is the overlay family and all of the side panel. And I know we're going through a lot, but let me just show you one more very cool thing. And that is timeline editing, which is my favorite. So on the bottom, you'll see your timeline. Down here are your scenes. So it'll show you where everyone is showing up, the full screen, split screen, all of that. And over here, you'll also see your chapters, as I described before. What you can also do is press right here and do expand tracks. And I can go in and I can, maybe I want to mute Craig here. I can do that. Maybe I want to delete this whole section. I can do that right here by just pressing delete. What else can I do? If I unexpand tracks, I can also do things like on my timeline, I want to add an ad break, for example. So I'll click where I want to add my ad break and press S on my keyboard or press this split button, and you'll see that it split my timeline. I can kind of hover between these two things and add a section, and that's where I can take my recordings, upload, take one of my edits, and basically add my ad break right into there. I can do the same thing in the beginning or the end of my timeline using these two add buttons. So if I have an intro, let's say that I want to add that, let's say that this is my intro. I can go in and add that intro right here.
Our big release is finally here.
And that will be my intro added right into your timeline very easily. You can also do some really cool things like, let's say, and I'm just gonna do this really fast and dirty, that I can split different sections like this. And I can actually, if I want this to be my intro, let's say, I can pick it up and drop it. So you can really just drag and drop different parts of your clips and have them really appear wherever you would like them to. So really cool. You're able to really create anything that you would like. And with all of that shown, I want to show you an edit that I would make, let's say. So let's get to it. I'll show you how to make a social clip. Let's find a part of this that I want to clip. Or actually, I'm going to go to a part that like a session that I know I wanted to make a clip for. So we had a webinar with B&H, And I'm going to go into my recording and I'll do a new edit. And there was a part in there. I'm going to just scroll on through. If I remembered what he said, I would be able to search my timeline. So, my time. There it is. He said, "This is my time." It was a funny little moment here. Um, Here, let me highlight this part. And I'm going to create a new edit. So now I'm in this edit. And first thing I want to do is I want to make it 9 by 16. I want to hide Bridget because she wasn't speaking. And I want to hide Kevin. Maybe I want the layout to be like that or like this. And I actually want to, instead of myself, maybe actually let's do Kevin. So we have Kevin and Steven here. I want Kevin to be on the top instead. I'll do the tracks panel. Kevin on top here. Sorry, it's giving me, there we go. And then let's say that I want to add some animated captions. So let's do that. You can see that I want this to be a little bit bigger and I want it to be one word at a time. So one thing I want to do is
the Samsung Q2U. It looks a lot similar. I think it's like a shiny silver, but it's also, yep, there you go.
this is for beginner, right?
Hey, this is my time, Steven.
So we have that funny moment. I want to add a scene right here. So I'm going to click in right here, press add scene, and I want to have it be full screen here with just Kevin. So
Stand down. He's got props. I don't have props.
So we can do all of that. I can add an image if I want. Let's say props. So these are some funny images for props, but let's just use this. Oh. Have that go over here. Change the caption. And I want this there. And so really easily.
Stand down. He's got props. I don't have props.
Oh, and
no,
you saw that props was too late, so I actually want to move this back up, and you can see exactly where it is on the timeline. We have a video that we can show you all.
He's got props. I don't have props. No, I'm just joking.
You have a video. We have a video. And then whenever you're done, you can kind of customize it to be whatever you'd like. You just press export up here, choose audio. That's audio. Choose video. That's video and audio, and choose the quality that you want it in. Whether or not you want to normalize audio levels. So let's say that there are people speaking at different levels. You don't really need to turn that on if you decide to edit the track levels yourself. And then you'll get an email sent to you when your clip or full episode is ready. But last thing that I like to do before I upload, before I export, is I go here, download the transcript and the subtitles for my long form, copy the transcript or copy the chapters list if I want to use that, and then you are good to go. So that was a lot that we ran through, but I want to get to some of your questions, and I took a lot of the time. So let's go through some of your questions and let's see what you have to ask. Um, Keisha asked, if you take a scene from the interview and move it to the front as an intro, will it no longer be part of the original interview? No. So there are two different things that you can do. You can either pick it up and move it, like I showed you, and that will move that audio and video, or you can copy it and paste it. If you want, for example, and if you copy it and paste it, it'll appear at both of those places. So let's say you want to put a teaser in the beginning of your episode, but you still want it to play later on in your interview. You'd copy and paste rather than picking up and moving it, if that makes sense. Um, so, how can you create a nice thumbnail to be your opening frame? I am glad you asked. So, I'm going to go back to my larger edit and I'll share my screen over here. So, for this interview, let's say that I want to go to my to create an intro. So first of all, you can create an intro outside of Riverside and import it in, and then you could just press this add button at the beginning, or you'll also find it in your timeline right here. Add. You can press add right here, and you can upload your intro if you'd like. But here is a fun trick if you don't have your intro and you want to just make one yourself here. You can press add empty section and that will create this blank screen. And then you can kind of get a little fun with it. So, for example, I can go to images, and let's say this is my thumbnail again. I can click on here, make it full screen, and then zoom in. And I want it to be right there so that it starts. And then I want to add some music, for example, and put that in. So I can have that music play just for that intro. And then I've created a really easy intro just here, right on my Riverside editor. Hello, hello to everyone who. So that is a cool way to do it. So let me get to the next question. Is there a way to rename your studio names? Do you mean the name of your studio, or do you mean the people that are in that are recording with you? Let me know, Niall, what you mean by that. Um, how does a host add the title and names of the guest, or can the guest choose how they want to be identified? So, Keisha, do you mean on the editor or in your studio? If you're in your studio, you can click, or your guest can also click on their name, and they'll be able to type in whatever they'd like under their name. When they're signing into the studio, when they're in your lobby, they'll type in their own name, so they can identify themselves however they wish to. If you are in the editor, you would use the text overlays. Niall said name of the studio. So if I go into my studio, I can press settings over here and you'll see that you can rename your studio right here. So hope that answers your question, Niall. If we use the EQ settings, does that limit any other audio adjustments that are offered, like echo offsetting? So when you adjust the EQ settings, you'll be able to hear live what that sounds like. What I recommend doing is kind of focusing on one. So I wouldn't, for example, do EQ and also turn on normalization. Like focus on one and really perfect that audio, and then you won't kind of have two features competing against each other in any way. But I did the other day use Magic Audio and I used an EQ preset just to get the audio exactly where I want it to be. So you can definitely do that. Do I have to specify to not show my guest until they speak while they're recording, or can that be done in post production using AI layout? So if you are in the editor, you can set a scene to be full screen on yourself and then bring in your guest. If you are in the studio, you can actually open up the people panel, and you'll see a hide button, and that can hide your guest until you want to bring them on screen. And then when you press show, it'll bring them on. When you are hiding a guest, it doesn't record their audio or video. So just know if you do want to show their face reacting to something, don't press hide because you'll want that audio and video. Um, if I'm lucky enough to not need editing, do I simply upload to save it to my studio? Would it post to all of my social media? What you can do is let me show you. Let's go to one of my projects. So what you can do here is you would go into your editor and press export, and that will send it to you. And it doesn't automatically post on social. What it does is it will send you an email with the file or you can also check back on your Riverside your project page, and it'll show the exported clip ready to go. And then you have to put that on social media yourself. So you download it and post it wherever you'd like. Um, how can I add an image or so to start off the video? Often the first couple of frames, I look really silly because I'm using the settings. I did just show that during the empty section, or you could just add an image overlay and do that and do it that way. But I do recommend doing the empty section, and you can always extend it a little bit if you want to be talking but not seen at that moment. Um, Does Riverside create the show notes, episode number, and title, and links to copy and paste to YouTube? In your show notes that will be generated, you will see that it will create your show notes. It gives you title suggestions. It will not have your episode title unless you put that in your recording title. So if you want to organize it that way, you can name your recording episode 38, and it'll show there. But and as far as links to copy and paste to YouTube, um, links are not available on the show notes, but you can always put those in yourself. But you do have copy and pastable chapter time codes that you can do. So it makes it really easy, and as well as keywords. So all of that makes it really easy to upload right to YouTube. Um, if in a live video before you start a recording, in a live video, before you start a recording, can a person zoom in to the guest or yourself and change from the side you want to be on? Yes. So you can't zoom in, but what you can do is you'll be able to see in the studio. You can click and drag to each side the boxes, so you can decide which side of the studio you want to be on. So whether your box is on the left side or the right side, you can decide right there. Um, oh, your Shure mic sounds great. Thank you very much. It's a SM7B, Shure SM7B. I have used a Shure MV7. Do recommend that as well. But yeah, that's what I'm using right now. Can Riverside handle multiple speakers shooting multiple cameras shooting multiple speakers as well as guests from the cloud? So yes, it can. It would be as long as you have up to 9 guests, and that would probably include your second camera angle. It can handle that. And what we're doing is we're recording locally onto your device and then uploading it to the cloud. Can you import separate files from an external recording and do different overlays and edit the tracks together into one video? So yes, you can, or you can soon. That is something that we hope to have for you very soon. Did I notice a green screen, and if so, how is that used? That is, oh, you're probably talking about the image overlays. That is just something that I had uploaded. No, we don't support green screen right now, but hopefully that will be coming soon. I'll have some updates for you. Um, Keisha had written, I love the eye contact feature. I have to use notes. Can you repeat where that function is? When you're in your editor, you can go to the right side panel. I'll show you again. New edit. There are a few different ways. So, easiest for me, the way that I do it, is I go to AI Producer, and then at the bottom, you'll see eye contact. And when you click into that, you can choose which speaker you want to apply that to. You can also go into the tracks panel, click into one of the tracks, and apply that eye contact right here using the toggle. So pick your play. And we are a minute out from the top of the hour. So that was a lot that we went through. And let me stop sharing my screen. And thank you very much for bearing with me, first of all, through all of that information, because I know it's a lot, but also because I was doing this on my own. And actually, you are the first people that that I was able to do the demo with fully solo. So hope that went well for all of you, because I will admit that was a bit nerve-wracking. But thank you all for tuning in and watching along. I will also just drop really quick that we do have a community of creators. I'll put the link on the screen here right now. but I'll also put it in the chat. We have a community of over 21,000 creators that are all helping each other and supporting each other and answering each other's questions. So if you're not a part of that already, you should be, and come join the community. You'll see a lot from me there. And I put the link in the to the help center, but our help center is extremely searchable. It's really helpful. We have videos on how to do everything. So make sure to check that out as well if you have any questions as you go forward. And we also have an incredibly helpful YouTube channel. I'll put the link to that as well. And you can find all of our latest feature announcements and some great content there. So feel free and you are encouraged to go check that out. Otherwise, thank you all for tuning in. I had a lot of fun. Besides the nervousness, had a lot of fun hosting this. So thank you again, and can't wait to see what you create. Make sure to tag us because we really love to see what you create. And yeah, until next time, thanks so much.